Welcome to Thriver TV, the place to break free from narcissistic abuse with quantum tools and understandings. I'm so excited about today's Thriver TV episode because in it I get to share with you the 10 most important lessons that I've ever learned from narcissistic abuse recovery. These are important lessons. They're actually vital lessons. They saved my life. They allowed me to heal from the unhealable and thrive. And also they've set the basis for thousands of other people just like you to do the same. And I can't wait to share them with you. But before I do, thank you if you have subscribed to my channel, and I'm so grateful for you for supporting the Thriver mission. And if you haven't yet subscribed, I want to remind you to please do so. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. All right, so let's get started. Lesson number 1. It's impossible to think our way out of trauma. So you need to know this more than anything. Thinking, talking, researching, and filling your brain with more information does not stop obsessive thinking. Obsessive thinking is a byproduct of being traumatized, and the more you try to think your way out of it, the more traumatized you become. That's because the only thinking you have access is to the thinking about it. It doesn't get you out of it, it gets you more into it. The brain follows the body. It's the servant of it and not the master. And I've done many Thriver TVs about quantum healing and why it's the true way to heal for real. But suffice to say here, if you think more thinking and information helps you, you're heading more deeply into wrong town. There is another way, a true way to heal. And this true way is at the level of the body, working on your nervous, somatic and emotional systems at their core, where the trauma is affecting your entire life, where your trauma is stored. I want you to understand this. When the trauma is healed at its core, then there's no trauma left for you to try to manage with thinking. And both the body and the mind will completely calm down, creating space for relief, calm, power, and new directions. So, lesson number 2. If you remain victimized, more victimization comes. This lesson is commonly, at the start of recovery, a tough one to accept, but it is so necessary. Initially, I was totally a victim. I hadn't realized that I needed to heal me. I completely blamed him, and I thought that my life was beyond repair. I thought it was finished. In this state, and whilst going on abuse forums and communicating with other people about how bad narcissists are, I was denying my own love and healing back to wholeness. When I stopped banging on about narcissists and made my healing my greatest priority, I found many unhealed parts of myself. Aspects of myself that not only had allowed me to unconsciously allow him into my life, but it had not allowed me to leave and look after me. Healing those parts of me was what took all the abuse symptoms, fears, and traumas away. All the painful things that would have been my lifelong legacy if I remained a victim. I healed and evolved beyond all of them. Yay, and you can too. Lesson number 3. Once the trauma is inside you, it's yours to be responsible for. This lesson is entwined with lesson number 2, and like lesson number 2, it can be challenging to accept initially. It is this: as an adult, there is no one coming to save you. The people who have hurt you are not going to fix what they did, and no outside force is going to magically take the pain away. Any external relief will be fleeting and temporary. And this means, regardless of how the trauma got there, who put it there, and even what it is, the only way true recovery can happen is if you meet your inner being and start releasing your trauma. When I finally got this, I realized how liberating it was to stop waiting for anything else, and I just got down to the real mission that was my life, tending to the healing of my inner self, which is where my entire life unfolds from. And that changed everything. The pain went and real life began. I realized how disempowering it had been trying to make other people provide me with self-soothing love, approval, security, and survival. I finally knew that I had the power to generate these things within myself. And you will too. Lesson number 4, it was all meant to be. The more awakened we become, the more we come to this realization, I understand now why that happened. This understanding comes very quickly once we start healing from the inside out. Virtually every time I accessed what hurts in my dedicated inner thriver recovery, I found a trauma and a false belief that came from my past. The ahas came thick and fast, allowing me to know that the narcissist was the messenger of my wounds. He represented the delivery of exactly the parts of myself that were still unhealed, the ways that I was hard on myself, the ways I didn't self-partner. He brought to light my greatest terrors to do with love, safety, security, and survival. And in my relationship with him, I got to see how I would dismiss myself and my health in order to not be abandoned by him. I realized how my previous fears of abandonment wounds had led to me drastically abandoning myself. Once I'd healed these parts within, I became the happiest, healthiest version of myself I could ever imagine. I was finally self-partnered, whole, solid, and safe in my own body and in my life. And that's what I want for everybody. Lesson number 5, the value of your soul is everything. Before Thriver Recovery, my identity's value was certainly not about my soul. It was about outer things, such as the relationship I was in, how much security I had, and what I owned. And it was completely about what other people thought of me. When myself and my life was smashed into oblivion by narcissistic abuse, all that was left was me with me. It was then, after turning inwards to save my own soul by letting go of all of the trauma within, that I was reborn. I emerged knowing the truth, that I had the ability to be whole in my own soul, regardless of what I did or didn't have. Once achieving this became the highest mission, things started unfolding in the most miraculous ways to grant me more wholeness. And I've seen in my own life and now in the lives of countless others that when your soul is your highest priority, then all else in your life is going to come back online. It heals and starts to flourish, even including your children. When you value your inner being, which is the seat of your soul, then all of life and creation, source, honors you completely too. Lesson number 6, releasing judgment to be the solution. What are people's inner values and truth? Have they developed from oneness, authenticity, and feeling safe and secure within their own being? Or are they about separation, distrust, hiding out and acting to try to survive? How many children grew up not being whole on the inside and therefore became damaged children in adult bodies? Is there peace and love or rage and fear driving a person's actions that they may be deeply unconscious about? I learned to drop judgment, pain, and resentment about other damaged people and to concentrate on cleaning up my half of the road. The best we can all do now is to heal our own inner being, knowing that this assists the healing of the whole. The more you judge and condemn, the more it hurts you. And it's not a solution to the issues. It only helps hold them in place. If you're still carrying trauma, you're spreading the infection to others and you will remain a potential victim and target of it instead of easing it. However, by healing your own inner being and inspiring others to heal theirs, there's a movement away from being abused. And this helps release the entire abuse pattern for you and your future generations. Lesson number 7. We can't heal our children if we're unhealed. Before I understood this truth about Thriver Recovery, I desperately tried to rescue my own son instead of healing myself. The result was that he pushed back and he pulled away. My energy was damaged and toxic to be around, and I wasn't leading the way for myself or him. When I finally let go of trying to heal and control him and took full responsibility for my own healing, he started to get well too. Additionally, to this day, every time I do a Quantum Freedom healing shift on myself, which is what is in the NARP program, I have the intention that my healing is also his healing. The results are miraculous. Where I go, he follows. Lesson number 8. People love you how you love yourself. I used to believe that people would love me the way I loved them. My life was about people pleasing and handing away my rights and power to try to make them provide me with love, approval, security, and survival. A great deal of my previous victimization was about, how dare you treat me so badly after what I gave you? Then I woke up out of the trance and understood that what we accept is what we will get. That people mirror back the way we think about and love and treat ourselves. You will never accept a level of love lesser than the level that you love yourself. When you heal the foundational relationship, which is a true relationship in your life, the one you're having with your inner being, then you will have and maintain relationships with other whole, healthy people as well. Lesson number 9. Nothing stops until you stop participating. We think we're saying no to something by pushing back on it and wrestling with it. I was a chronic over-participator. I would argue, defend, lecture, prescribe, try to fix, and roll around with abusers, trying to do everything to make them change so that I could have a healthy, happy life. If you relate to this, pause this video and put your hand up to being a chronic over-participator in the comments below. I learned that to have a healthy and happy life, I needed to stop participating and simply state my values and truth. Then I needed to pull back into them and just be them and only allow these values and truths into my life. No more judgment, anger, or trying to change others. Rather, my life became about, that's their truth, this is my truth, and if it's not a match, that's perfectly fine. Then true freedom to be myself became possible. And it will for you too. Lesson number 10, there is no outside. This lesson is pretty quantum and so powerful when you work with it, because it allows you to take full responsibility for your life to eternally grow and generate powerfully. As Neil Donald Walsh said in his book, Conversations with God, I only send you angels. I learned to accept that everyone in my experience was showing me an aspect of myself. If they hit a trigger within, it was an unhealed part. When narcissists co-create painful or disappointing events with you, they expose for you the evidence of a painful belief for you to heal and break free from. And if people reflect back to you love, kindness, and benevolence, these are healthy beliefs that you're starting to have about yourself, life, and others. When we use the contextual field as a tool for self-awareness and actualization, then life has richness, depth, and meaning, as well as exciting growth possibilities and directions. However, please don't think in this self-reflection that you won't address your outside world. You will, but in more effective ways than you ever have before. Maybe your growth lesson is about overcoming your fear that others have power over you. What this means is you can release yourself from that inner fear and start showing up, having difficult conversations, laying boundaries, and even taking decisive action against someone when they don't honor your expressed boundaries. Doing that is an act of self-love. Quantum self-actualization is not fluffy New Age woo-woo. It's about becoming the most authentic, real, empowered, effective, and loving person you can be. Okay, so I hope this video has helped. If you're already working with NARP, you're anchoring into these truths, which come into full organic realness when we lose our inner trauma. If you've been struggling with your narcissistic abuse recovery, the embodiment of these 10 lessons will grant you powerful and fast relief. So, to embody and start living by these lessons, you can join me and the Thriver Tribe by clicking the link at the top right of this video. And if you want to see more of my videos, please subscribe so that you'll be notified as soon as each new one is released. And if you liked this, click like. Also, please share with your community so that we can help people awaken to these quantum powerful truths. And as always, I'm greatly looking forward to answering your comments and your questions below. All right, keep smiling, keep healing, and keep thriving because there's nothing else to do. Lots of love. Bye-bye.